Alright, so I've been a bit behind on the Beavis and Butthead episodes. I've been busy and I just haven't really made the time to really talk about it, but let's talk about it. Anyway, so we're gonna start off with the episode Sad Boys. It's where Beavis and Butthead are looking at an emo kid while they were kicking lockers for some reason, and they think they're gonna get girls by being emo. So they decide the only way they can do that is by saying they're depressed and stuff. It all starts when they go into Mr. Van Driesen's classroom and they start saying that they feel mood and then down, and then Mr. Van Driesen's like concerned that they're depressed, but they're not. They don't even know what that is probably. And then they are sent to I guess a school psychologist, and she asks them questions that kind of get them sent to a mental health facility. She starts asking if they're having thoughts of hurting themselves, and Beavis for some reason just says yes, and they just start saying they're sad. And then the lady decides to call up the place, and then they are sent to this mental health facility. They get a little tour there, and they're thinking they're gonna get some girls there, but they're not. And then they're forced to do like a group therapy section, and the lady there tries to get them to hold them all to hold hands, and the butthead just grabs Beavis's arm instead of hand. But eventually they do hold hands, and then later they go to this shock therapy thing, because earlier in the episode they thought they were going to get girls because of that thing they saw earlier, and the guy did explain what a shock therapy machine thing does, and they decide they want to use it. And then that's what happens later that night. They use it on their nads. Butthead uses it first, and it extremely hurts him basically. And Beavis does something even more stupider. He uses it on his nads, and then he uses it to an extreme level. And then it causes a power outage for the entire Highland, and we hear Beavis' screams. And then the episode just ends with them saying they're not depressed after the doctors find them. So this episode was crazy. It was funny because of how bizarre the subject it was, for sure. So not much else to say about this episode. It was kind of like a sequel to that one episode where a psychologist visits the Highland. I don't know what the episode was called. She does visit, and then she observes Beavis and Butthead, and then they are sent to a facility at the end because of, I don't know, how rageful they can be towards each other. So, yeah. Well, let's move on to the next episode. Are you there, God? It's me, Beavis. So when I saw the title for this episode, I had no clue what it was going to be about. Like, I was actually really curious. And who be told, it's about Beavis getting rabies. So it's quite crazy. It opens with Mr. Van Driesen teaching kids puberty. It's also a flashback, by the way. It opens with Beavis praying, and then Beavis is like, he's noticing changes, and we're thinking that the puberty that Mr. Van Driesen's teaching is what Beavis is learning. But no, behind the glass of the window, Beavis and Butthead are messing around, and they find a skunk with rabies. And they're thinking it's a cat with whipped cream, and they think it's cool. And then, because the skunk has rabies, the skunk then attacks Beavis, bites him in the arm, and he's like screaming. And then there's blood on his hand, and they don't know that they have rabies. And so later, as Beavis continues praying, they're in the gym locker room. And yeah, Beavis is changing, alright. He's got red eyes, yellow, and he's actually getting the stuff that comes out of your mouth when you have rabies. And it's concerning even the gym coach. And it's not Buzzcut. I thought Buzzcut was going to be in this episode. since they're in the gym room. But no, it was a completely different coach. So I don't know if we're going to see Buzz cut. We might, I don't know. And then Beavis is just going crazy, and then the gym coach tells Butthead to bring him to the nurse, and then Butthead's like, no. And then as the rabies keep getting worse, Beavis is just basically all the symptoms of rabies is happening to Beavis. He said his pee is red, and he's now viciously attacking others. Like, he even attacks Butthead while they're just trying to watch TV, and then the spit thing is on the couch, and then Butthead's like, hey, Beavis, get that crap out of here. I thought that was funny. And then Beavis just attacks Butthead, like I said, and then Butthead just runs away. And I think it ends with Beavis seeing a hallucination of God. So I think that's one of the symptoms of rabies. So this episode was definitely more crazier. It does end with Beavis wanting to be himself, and then he sees Tom Anderson and attacks him. And he's just like, what the? So who knows if Beavis got cured by rabies? And apparently they were saying there's a stunk of getting rabies. That's what it said on the news. So that's the connection to Beavis's rabies. So these two episodes are definitely crazy. I'd probably give Sad Boys probably an 8 out of 10, or just a 7 actually. Only because it felt like an episode we've already seen. Are you there, God? It's me, Beavis. This episode, I'd probably give an 8 for how bizarre it all is. And definitely a more different of the episodes. We have seen Beavis get bitten by a rabid dog before, but he did get a rabies shot. I don't know if you remember that episode. It feels like they're attributing to other episodes. Maybe. But, the next episode, which came out a few days ago, I think it's, the day Butthead went too far. So they're putting a lot of long titles in their episodes, I can see. It opens with Beavis and Butthead trying to use a water slide. And then Beavis decides to go down the slide, but instead he hits his head on the house. And Butthead's just like, whatever. And then he walks away. And then Beavis wakes up with a huge sunburn on his back. And because he has a sunburn, Butthead decides to just slap Beavis. And he's getting tired of it. This is where, honestly, this title might be misleading since it's kind of Beavis going a little too far. Beavis is now having the thoughts of killing Butthead. Literally. And he literally wants to do this by hiring a hitman. So that's insane. Before I saw the episode, I read the description. I was like, what? There was no way he was going to hire an actual hitman. And so Beavis tries to hire the hitman later that evening. He goes into a fast food place, a diner, whatever, and he meets some random stranger. He shows a picture of the house, and apparently the house is Butthead's uncle's house. So that's something. But then the guy has no clue what Beavis is talking about. And so he just says, hey, if you want to get a job, you can go there. They're hiring plenty of people. And I think where Beavis goes to is a garden place where you can hire people who do work on houses and stuff. And there where he meets a random painter. And he tries to hire him to be the hitman. And the painter actually goes along with Beavis' saying. Instead, he doesn't know that about the killing part. He's thinking, because he's been given the photo of the house, he's gonna go to the house to paint the walls. And Beavis doesn't realize that, and he's a painter. His stupidity is just beyond the charts. And so now he has his sort of kill Butthead planned out. He's thinking the painter's gonna kill him. And then later, the painters do go to the house, and apparently Beavis owes him $2,000. So painters aren't cheap. And so Yeah, even Beavis picks out a color white, and he's just like saying, "Oh, well, I'm not racist." So Beavis clearly just does not understand what he's doing at all. And then while the two were sitting on the couch, Beavis is just like, "I'm sorry," and then Butthead's like, "You better get me Count Chocula. You better be sorry." And so when the painters finally do come, Beavis decides to say, "No, do not." He tells them to just go away, and then he's just like, the painters get mad because they were all prepared to paint the house, and they're just like, "What? We came here for nothing?" And then they decide they want to beat up Beavis, and then it just ends with switching over to Butthead. He is the mastermind, in a way. And he tells the painters to just slap Beavis. And that's what happened, and then the episode just ends with them hitting the sunburn. So Beavis did feel bad for almost wanting to kill Butthead. They just didn't know it. None of them do, other than Beavis himself having his little inner thoughts for the moment of the episode. So this episode was definitely just like the other crazy episodes for sure. So next is the recent episode, Spring Break. So Beavis and Butthead decide they want to go to school. And they don't realize they're on winter break. And they misinterpret that with spring break. And so they decide they want to go to Jersey Shore. And that made me laugh out loud because, I don't know, because in like the 2011 episodes, they reacted to the Jersey Shore episode. And I thought that was hilarious. And so Beavis and Butthead decide they want to go to the Bahamas or Jersey Shore. And so they find a random package and they go into it. And then they are picked up by a delivery. Wait, no, it's a garbage man. And then the garbage man delivers them to the junkyard. And then Beavis and Butthead are then dropped off at this junkyard. And they don't realize they're not at the beach. And they're thinking they are. And then they even take their shirts off. And they're like, it's even shown in the trailer when they say, "Come and get it." And they don't even get their shirts back for some reason. And they're thinking they're ready for the girls to hang out with at this beach. And they're even standing in gross acid. And then they find a car so they can get to Florida faster. That's where they wanted to go. And then while they're in the car, they don't realize... I thought they were actually driving at first, but, there's no engine, no key. But then the car is picked up by a crane, and the crane doesn't notice that they're in the car. And then the episode ends with Beavis and Butthead fall into an incinerator, getting crushed to death, probably. And so this is another moment where Beavis and Butthead died. Honestly, they're going to be brought back just like other episodes, and they're going to recycle the plot. And that'll be it. Honestly, does death really matter in this show? I mean, they come back because it's comedy. Like, there's no such thing as plot armor in this show. They can probably make fun of plot armor. Now, I didn't mention the commentaries. I don't remember too much of what happened. They react to a few wild music videos, some little suggestive. They even referenced Darth Maul for some reason. I thought that was funny. Because they've mistaken Satan for Darth Maul. So I thought that was pretty funny. So, probably the best episode is... I don't know. If I had to pick one, it would probably this episode. Because it was definitely a new change of pace for the story. And next, Spring Break was just typical Beavis and Butthead being stupid. The rabies one, I probably picked that as my second favorite of these episodes I'm talking about. And I think the Sad Boys was third, and then Spring Break is third, and then this episode fourth. So those are my thoughts on these episodes. So I can't wait to talk about the next episodes. I don't know what they're going to be about. We'll have to wait and see. So with that said, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.